Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Lambom Show. Today is Friday the 3rd of May 2024. And I want to start off by wishing a happy birthday to my brother James, not the one who's going to be coming on the show, James Cole. Today is his birthday. I want to wish him a very happy birthday. But today we are taking on a very, very interesting topic, and I'm very glad to have somebody who is very knowledgeable. He's been within the political system of at least PG County, Maryland for a while. If I'm not mistaken, Mr. James ran for office once, if I'm not mistaken about that. But I'm glad to have with me one I can call a big brother. He's a certified public accountant, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll let Mr. James introduce himself. We are in the midst of elections, primaries in Maryland. The Senator Ben Cardin is retiring, a Democrat, and there are many candidates who lined up to replace him, Republican, Independent, Democrat. And within the Democratic sphere, surprisingly, we have two Democrats running. David Trone, a businessman, millionaire, multi-millionaire, Total Wines. If you go to any liquor store, wine store around the US and you see Total Wine, it's owned by David Trone and his brother. He's a multimillionaire, currently a congressman, and is running to replace Senator Ben Cardin. But also running as a Democrat on that platform is Angela Alsobrooks. Ms. Alsobrooks is currently the county executive for Prince George's County, and an African-American woman having a very strong record. And I'm wondering today what we want to discuss is African immigrants. Maryland is, if I'm not mistaken, it should be the third. It's either the third or the fourth largest state that hosts African immigrants. But seemingly we do not participate in these things. And so I caught up with Mr. James Afueh, and we want to find out what is happening and give you his perspective. Welcome, Mr. James.
Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Lambert. I really appreciate the opportunity.
So let's start off. Can you tell us who is Mr. James Afueh and why should we listen to him?
Well, I don't know much about listening to me, but I'm just a regular guy. Again, my name is James Afueh. I came to America quite a few years ago and was blessed to have the opportunity to participate in the political process and do quite a lot of few things. And I think that, throughout my career, coming from Cameroon, my whole thing has always been to be a chartered accountant. And I came here, I continued with that. I continued with that whole process and became a chartered accountant several years ago. And in the process also, I saw the need that we have to do everything we possibly can to participate in the American political process. So we've been doing that. And some years back, we put an organization together to work together to help all of us. Unfortunately, our people being who we are, somehow we don't find a way to really hold on to something. But notwithstanding, it still does not stop us from participating in the political process, because at the end of the day, it's all about participation. It's all about involvement. So again, by way of background, I'm a chartered accountant. I do a lot of financial planning, do a lot of tax planning, do a lot of accounting work for small businesses, because that's what it's all about. And if we want anything done within where we live and even what we really aspire, one of the big things I would say we should do is participate in the American political process. It's a wonderful process, whether we love it or we don't love it, but it's always good to participate. Thank you, sir.
So thank you. And just to follow up, you mentioned that some years back you started off a little organization, and I also heard you say people being good. What is that organization and what really happened? What's the history behind that?
Well, a little bit of history behind that, because it was exactly the same whole thing about the desire to participate in the political process. So they say politics is local. So several years back, we always participate to help people get elected and all of that stuff. So several years back, we got the community together and said, look, let's form, unfortunately, I had to go back briefly. Let's put together what we'll call Cameroon Congress of America. And we did. And it was really working well. And I was elected president. And again, because of somehow, unfortunately, we tend to have a very myopic way of looking at things sometimes. We do not let that organization flourish. But in that same process, we're able to have quite a lot of people get into the county administration and work with the county. And it was my hope that people seeing those kind of successes could say, oh, no, let's do something bigger. But it doesn't stop us from doing what we need to do. It doesn't stop us from getting involved. And I'm really hoping that at some point, we as African immigrants will actually see a need to say, well, we really need to get involved, not as individual little community here or individual little community there. Yes, we may have those little communities, but have a bigger purpose so that when we speak, people will hear us. When we say, well, we need this, people will hear us. For example, again, thank you for bringing me on this show. When I put out there that we should go vote for Angela Alsobrooks, somebody responded and said, well, what has she done for us? I'm sure we're going to get into all of that. What contract did she give us? What jobs did she give us? My response was, it is not tit for tat. Politics is not, maybe we may look at it, maybe we may disagree with me, but politics is not about quick pro quo or tit for tat. If you do that, then you are not really putting out your heart and soul to what you believe in. All of those things will come. They will. But they can come on a grand scale. For example, Angela has been one of the biggest leaders to push for the headquarters of the FBI to come to Maryland, particularly Prince George's County. Guess what? When that headquarters relocate to Prince George's County, it will be a big project. It will be construction, which means contracts are going to come with it. It will be people working in the county. Jobs means jobs are going to come with it. Obviously, for you to get a contract, for example, for you to get a job, for example, it means you have the experience to be able to do whatever job that they advertise out there. But to be able to know about that, we all need to get involved so that people know us, we know them, and then without qualifications, a whole lot of things can be done. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'm sure you already went into campaign mode there, but I'm happy that, because before I reached out to you, I've been trying to write an article to put the two candidates together, isn't it?
Yes.
David
Yes.
Trone and Angela Alsobrooks. I live in PG County. I live right off College Park. And I am wondering, Angela has done, she's an African American woman. And if you look at the US Senate currently, there's no black woman who is a senator, isn't it? That's number one.
Yeah.
And again, this kind of tokenism, we claim that, okay, we want to talk about gender, that should not count. We want to talk about race, that should not count. It should only come about who's qualified. And I'm wondering, why? Why should it not count? Why should gender not count? Why should race not count? Why should we just go? Those should also be qualifications. But take us back. Who is Angela Alsobrooks?
Angela, thank you so much for asking that and actually, prefixing what you just said there. Angela is a wonderful, wonderful lady and a good executive. When we look at government, we may not think at it as corporations, but I want us to just take a look at that for a moment. Angela, as a current county executive, Prince George's County is close to 1 million inhabitants. 1 million. Angela, the Prince George's County government has about maybe 6,000 or so employees, all managed by Angela. Now, if we were to segue that into a private organization, it means Angela has a customer base of almost 1 million people. Angela is running a corporation with about 6,000 employees. I didn't go into the budget of the county, but it's quite up there. So that is huge. That is huge. And Angela started way back from being a manager in one of the department that they call the county revenue authority to, obviously she's a lawyer, to becoming a state attorney, 8 years, to becoming a county executive and all of that. So she's progressively actually carry on and get things done for the county, and many other things that many of us may not see and know. You see, and my whole thing about Angela is that you just talked briefly about David Trone. With all the millions and all of that, nothing wrong. Let's all push out and get business and become millionaires. Is wonderful. You also have to think about when you see somebody with nothing but a belief. Angela doesn't have the kind of money that David Trone has. That is true. But to see her progressively move on and move up and do things and become a candidate executive, it is huge. That alone to me tells me this is a lady that we can actually help her get to the next level of politics, get to the next level of bringing the bacon home. Yes, it's true that the other person talked about, well, what has she done for us? But it's all about representation and bringing the bacon home. What can we do for Maryland to be better? What can we do for Prince Joseph County to be better? It turned out, for me, sometimes I like to go with the underdog. And to me, Angela is the underdog, but I know all of us putting ourselves together, we can send Angela to Congress. I think I share with you the picture or the images, the pictures of all the 100 senators. If you look at it, you can actually display that on the screen here. I don't know if you can, but if you display that on the screen here, our audience will actually see that truly we need another person also like Angela to be in Senate. We just talked about, people should not talk about gender, people should not talk about race and all of that. Whether we talk about it loudly or not, it's actually being done in a subtle way. If I may implore you, put that picture up on the screen, let people see the composition of Congress. So when you will see that, if that's not a subtle way of talking about race, if that's not a subtle way of talking about agenda, if that's not a subtle way of talking about, well, it's only this kind of group of people that can be in Congress and all of that, then let the picture speak for itself. That is what we're talking about. So when we start speaking these things out loud and say, look, let's also have somebody that looks like us, it's no different. People might say, oh, yeah, they're talking all about race. But if you look at what is happening, it's all there right in our own faces. So like I said, if you want to put that up on the screen, people can see it and really appreciate what we're talking about.
Yeah, so there we have it. You may not be able, but we have the 100 senators. That's right there. They're all. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, if you can, I don't know how your system works, but if you move, there you go. There, right there. There you have it. Now, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, that's it right there. And we'll share this stuff with everybody. Just look at exactly. Thank you, sir. Look at it. Look at this picture, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are here in Maryland. And I hope that Mr. Lambert is going to share this all throughout in all the platforms that there are. Take a look at this and see if you have any of us here, and particularly an African-American woman. I do not like calling people black and white because truly there's no black and white. If you can see this picture, you see people have white shirts in there and all of that. That white shirt is completely different from the color of the people that you're seeing here. So it's just unfortunate that sometimes we use race and call people this color and call people that color. At the end of the day, with the human race, nothing more, nothing less. But we need to be fully represented. At least all we can do, the least we can do is send one of our own to be a senator, Miss Angela Alsobrooks.
So, Mr. James, again, it's unfortunate that we are where we are, but let's zoom into our African community.
Yeah.
Generally, people don't participate in politics. People leave Africa. We have all come here. I think people are tired of the politics that we encountered at home. And that seems to have numbed the willingness for people to get engaged. I mean, what is the dynamic you currently see? Because increasingly, many Africans are coming up and getting into it, but we don't see our numbers getting to that point where we are able to make a dent. What's the issue and how can we solve that?
Here's what I would say. If you and I were to go to a restaurant and eat some, order some food and eat it and we don't like it, what I normally say is if you go to a restaurant and you eat food and it's bad food, it doesn't stop you from eating. And I relate that to our situation, the situation that you just mentioned about home and here. Just because our political processes at home is it gets us to our neck, and people want freedom. People want to be able to express themselves on all of that. And some people say, well, politics is dirty and all of that. Yeah, as the general is saying, it doesn't mean that we should exclude ourselves from it, particularly when God has blessed us to come to America. All you got to do is find a way to get involved and participate. I will say to my African brothers and sisters here in Maryland and throughout the United States that wherever you are, please do everything you possibly can to get involved in the political process, because it is the only game changer. I do not care whether somebody has a PhD, a CPA, all kinds of degrees, whatever you may think about. If you participate in a local government, whether it be the school board, whether it be parent teachers association, whether it be council elections and all of that, you have a chance to change something that you don't like. The thing about politics is that it's all about advocacy. If there's something I don't like and I put my neck out there and said, look, we need to change this, before I know it, there's so many other people that have that same desire to change what is that I'm thinking. So we, as African immigrants, together with our African American brothers and sisters here, we have the power to change a lot. And going back particularly to Africans, we do. And going back, narrowing it down to Prince George's County. Prince George's County, African immigrants in Prince George's County has the highest voting bloc, the most educated, and all of that. We cannot continue to sit back and complain. We need to find a way and get ourselves involved. Whatever it is that we do, even we don't have any major organization set up yet, we have to be involved, because it is the only thing. If you want good schools behind your backyard, get involved. If you want good roads behind your backyard, get involved. If you don't want something that is an eyesore in the community, get involved in the political process. That is how we can be able to change where we live. We can be able to make things better for all of us. That's how we can make a system much better. And so my whole thing here is Africans, get involved. You cannot be on the sideline and then complain about, oh, politician this, politician that.
So I know we already touched a little bit on it, but I really want you to hone in on why are you voting for you as Mr. James Afueh. Did you consider the other candidate, or once you just heard Angela, that was it for you? Why are you voting for?
No, I considered the candidates. I did. And here's my thing. The Constitution of the United States is a wonderful constitution. You and I maybe were learning bits and pieces of it from on it and learning a whole lot about it. But when the founding fathers put this together, they did not even know, in my mind, I'm sure they did, but they did not know how far-reaching what they put together, how far-reaching it could go. But it did. It has stood the test of time. It has. And so when I look at it, for me, obviously when people are in power, nobody wants to give up power. That is just human nature. But when I look at this, Trone has been in Congress for 6 years. He has. And every 2 years they get elected. Many other people have been in Congress forever. We complain about people being there for a long time, or for example, talking about our system in Cameroon, for example, where all of us will come from. The president there has been there for 42 years and nothing. It's like, okay, there's nothing that can be done. But here, they get elected. And here, they say, well, let's do term limits. They said no, because that's just the same process. The one in Cameroon doesn't want to talk about term limit or anything like that. Oh, you can't touch him. But here, they said, no, we can't do term limit. But here, the Constitution allows us to actually use the power of the vote to make term limit happen, such that we can say, hey, look, David Trone, you've been there for 6 years. Okay, let some other person come and try. Or Mr. So and so, or Mr. So and so, you've been there for 20 years. Let somebody else come and try. So when I started looking at all of these things, I said, let's at least have somebody also come and try. It's okay that Mr. Trone is a wonderful congressman. I admire him. I don't have anything against him. But just looking at the two candidates, for me, I just want somebody new to go and try. I want somebody to be there also for me to know that at least I can look at that picture of 100 senators and I see my daughter in it. I want the balance of power in the sense that when you, let's say, for example, somebody has been in Congress for 20 years and we'll say, okay, we decide to say after, or even since 12 years, after 12 years, we must elect somebody new. It gives us the chance to be able to allow that whenever you go to Congress, you must do whatever you need to do to take care of your constituents. Because when you leave, when you're there for 12 years, the constituents say, well, it's time for you to go, you're still going to come and meet them. So I will start finding ways to make those things happen without even pushing Congress to make term limits happen. We can have that through the power of the vote. After 12 years or 15 years, say, no, it's time to go. Granted, Mr. Trone has not been there for 6 years yet, but for me, with the experience that Angela has and being an executive running a major corporation, in this case, Prince George's County, with 6,000 employees, with almost 1,000 inhabitants, in this case, clients, that's enough experience for me to say, no, this young lady can do better for Maryland. We should not just limit for Prince George's. He can represent the whole state. She can represent the whole state. And yes, two senators out of each state represent their state. So Angela is not going to go to just for Prince George's County, but from the experience that she's picked up, she can be able to use that and bring a whole lot back to the to Maryland.
So if you're just joining us, welcome on the Lambom Show. And today we are talking about Angela Alsobrooks for Senate. Angela Alsobrooks is county executive for Prince George's County. She's running to replace retiring Senator Ben Cardin. And we are asking ourselves, we the African immigrants, where are the African immigrants? And Mr. James, so one of the things we know, I mean, PG County schools.
Yes.
Schools is a big thing. And PG County does not, I mean, when you look at the national ratings, our schools have a problem. And one is looking at it and is wondering, over the years, this is her second term as county executive. What difference is she going to bring to the school system that she has not been able to as county executive?
Well, as you know, education is one of the biggest things that can actually lift people from poverty. It is. It's one of the biggest things. And if you look at the county budget, education takes most part of that budget. And Angela is very huge on education. And one of the things also that I know she's done was to look at and saying, okay, our educational system, we're pushing, making sure that it's better. But if we can find a way to be able to make educational system such that the time that you finish high school, yes, you have the chance to go to university and all of that stuff. But can you, with your high school diploma, start doing something that can pay well? We'll call it vocational education. And I think that's one big thing that Angela, I know she's very big on. If you bear with me very briefly, from home, for me particularly, when we'll call our high school at home, we call it high school at home. But truly, when we finished, back my days was secondary school was 5 years, then high school was 2 years and all of that stuff. But those 2 years of high school is literally community college. And when I went to Bajongo, where we did business education, I did accounting in school. And the moment I finished that high school, I was able to go out there. I got hired. So the reason I'm talking so much about vocational school is because that's one of the big things that Angela looks at and said, no, education is good. We're going to push and make sure that it's out there. But let's also make sure that our kids, if they don't want to go to college right now and they want vocation that they can be able to feed themselves and feed the family, it will be available for them. So being a huge proponent of education, I know she will go and fight hard to bring more educational opportunities back into the county. Not only that, if you look at her platform about her priorities, she talks about healthcare, education, public safety, and all of that stuff. And by the way, talking about public safety and education, if we want to prevent crimes, get young people to have a little job. It's not to say that nobody should be committing any crime, but the more and more we'll get young people to have jobs the moment they get out of high school and all of that stuff, I guarantee you that will cut down the rate of crime that people commit. Having said that, another thing, talking about national averages and all of that, Prince George's County is a county to most, with 63% of African Americans in Prince George's County. One thing I have seen over the years is that anytime the media want to talk about Prince George's County, they throw something negative about Prince George's County. For me, I want the media to stop. If you're going to report something positive about Montgomery County or other counties, come and report something positive about our county as well. It cannot continue to be like when they report about this county, oh, this county is this county is this. Then before you know it, if you want to really see that, just start watching the news. By the time they talk about other counties and all the good thing about other counties, the next thing they come and talk about, oh, Prince George's County, this is what happened. So I'm hoping that, I don't know where this video is going to go, but the media must find a way to stop and actually talking about the good things that Prince George's County does for itself and its citizens. And I think Angela has been at the forefront of even that, talking to the media about these issues.
So, Mr. James, again, I like to push back on that because I'm a journalist by training. I don't think that we'll just go searching for, negative.
I agree.
Yeah, but the crime wave in PG County is high. We have to agree with that, isn't it? And don't forget that PG County is closer to DC, which has all these. Again, with all respect to DC, I don't want anybody coming after me here. But the crime wave, especially amongst our young people, is quite high.
Yes.
And you saw what happened recently at the National Harbor. They had to put an injunction against 17-year-olds because of the violence and all that. And I think as a parent, a priority I would have is making our streets safer. Yeah. And I'm wondering, what is her plan for that? Because it's seemingly, there are dangerous neighborhoods in PG County, but generally PG County is safe. Let's be clear about that. It's generally safe. Okay. But what is she going to do to make sure that the violence that we see throughout the state, Baltimore, isn't it? So you have all those areas. What is Angela going to do to ensure that our streets become safer? Let me put it that way, not just safely safer.
Sure, I appreciate that question. And yes, I appreciate the fact that, you still talk about journalism, being a journalist and all of that. But also, we'll also have to hold journalists accountable. You see, the thing about journalism and journalists is that they can talk, but because there's nobody there to dispute what they're saying, it's almost like gospel truth. Is it any strange thing to say to know that, okay, just look at all of the counties, look at the counties, for example, Baltimore County or Baltimore City, Prince George's County, DC, most of them are African Americans. Is it a coincidence that to say, oh, look at all these places, the crime rate is way up there? Yes, it may be way up there, but the real cause of that is because the system systematically does not invest in these areas so that people will no longer be looking for where to go do whatever they need to do to feed their families. It's not to say that no one should commit crimes. It's wrong. Don't commit any crime. No one should. Okay. But if we invest, as big as America is, as wonderful as America is, as rich as America is, you cannot pick and choose and say, well, that group there, let them stay there. Let all continue to report about crimes and all of that stuff. The opportunity should be there. Is there a reason why we cannot go to DC or come to Prince George's County to invest and create good jobs for the inhabitants of those places? And talking about what can Angela do? For example, fighting to make sure that we have good jobs. To me, I would say jobs, jobs, and jobs, and jobs. Because the more and more young people graduate from high school and they have a job to do, they will concentrate to use that that job and get money out of that to feed themselves. But if we don't bring those opportunities, it will continue to be there. And journalists like yourself, I'm not attacking you, will say, oh, crime rate is here high, but because we're not seeing the root cause of the problem, all we're trying to see is report what has happened, you see. So those kind of things, again, just talking about Angela, what she's going to do to solve it. For example, like I said, she was at the forefront of pushing to make sure that the FBI building, headquarters, relocate to Prince George's County. As much as, yes, it's a government agency, guess what? It will come with jobs. When they come and start constructing that headquarters, oh yeah, people will be employed. But we have to train our kids to make sure that they have the ability to be able to get those jobs. People will have contracts and all of that stuff. So Angela will go and fight to make sure that good, not just creating opportunities, but making sure that they're there for our citizens to take advantage of, pushing hard to make sure that education, vocational education for me, because the moment, if you can have vocational education, you can start feeding yourself. And that's one thing that I know Angela will do very well to push in all of these areas. But I will say again, if the media want to report, they should report fairly. Because I've seen situations where they say, oh, somebody committed a crime in DC, but they caught them in Prince George's. They end up saying, oh, they caught them in Prince George's, as if the crime was committed in Prince George's. The media must report fairly, must be balanced in the way they report. Thank you, sir.
So I want to read here. This is Modika Fembe Hilda. She says the society has a perception about individuals running into politics. The person has to have leadership skills and a need for inclusion. How inclusive do you think Angela Alsobrooks will be of African immigrants? And I mean, without having done any research, I don't know how many African immigrants work in her campaign or work in her office as a county executive. Because I think the same question that the person put to you or when you put out this, that's always the question. What has Angela done for the African immigrant that we should now come and support her? And I asked the same question to David Trone. What has David Trone done for the African immigrant that you should come and support him?
And I'll answer that question by going back to the most popular phrase that Kennedy said: ask not what your country has done for you, but what you've done for your country. First and foremost, if we saw one of my write-up, I said it is in giving that we receive. Let us give and let the chips fall where they may. It never fails you. The more and more you give, the more and more you get back. It's not just enough to say, well, Angela has been there, and what has he done for the African community? Have we had a chance to participate in getting her elected? Have we had a chance to participate in getting involved? Again, I will say this one more time. We have to get involved without saying, oh, I'm going there because I want to get a job. If that's what you're trying to do, that's business. But first, if you buy into what that particular person, that leader is trying to do, in this case, Angela, if you buy into her passion about uplifting people and all of that, be part of the process. And when the time comes with your qualifications and all of that, they'll knock at the door and say, wait, we have this position here. Or they'll put it out there. We have this position. Please, applicants, apply. And if you apply with your qualification, with the exposure that you've been part of the process and all of that, it's only fair. It's not tit for tat. It's only fair. So that is how. So I'll go back again to our people. Let us get involved, and then we'll see the result. But we can't say that, now Angela is there, now let her go and hire all the other people, Africans, before we can get involved. And by the way, talking about that, the Africans in her administration, there are directors, there are managers, and all of that. I will not name them, but they're there.
Yeah, so Mr. James, again, follow up. We keep talking about getting involved. How can an African immigrant who wants to get involved in Angela's campaign to support her, how can they do it?
Now, there's Angela's website. I know it's a short period now, but it's still good. With May, the election is in November. We can go to her website. There's a link that I think I sent to you, which you can also share here. And then just get involved. One, as much as we may not have a huge organization yet, but at least get involved. Just be able to go, just like we're talking here. This one part of getting involved, being able to let the community say, please go out and campaign for Angela and all of that. Call her headquarters. Her headquarters is there in Largo, but I think if you can share a link here, we have Angela Alsobrooks, I think it's .com, something like that. But if you can share it here, people can see that and be able to get involved. Call our office. You can go do door knocking. You can make phone calls. You can participate in so many different ways.
Yeah, so that's
right there.
our website, angelaAlsobrooks.com.
Exactly.
And you mentioned something, because generally we talked about it in the beginning. The problem is we all think that to get involved in politics in America, you need to be a U.S. citizen. Many people come here, they have immigration issues, they are still struggling through to find their feet, and then in the midst of all that, it's difficult to say, that thing is not for me. But now you're saying we should get involved, and I really wanted to talk on a couple of things there because you mentioned it. So it's not just about, if you cannot vote, you can get people who can vote to go and vote, isn't it? So you talk
Absolutely.
about phone bank. Go to our website. So what do you think people can do? Those people who are not yet eligible to vote.
And I'm so happy you mentioned that. Politics is a game changer. People come here trying to get, when they get in, they try to get their status regularized and all of that. By you simply getting involved, you don't know who you will meet to be able to say, hey, look, your situation here, I have somebody that I can refer you to. You see? So this, again, is exactly the issue of our involvement. People come here, not that they're coming here illegally and all of that stuff. They come because of the situation that they find themselves in, and then they're trying to find a way to regularize themselves and all of that by just simply distributing a flyer for somebody. And maybe you say, hey, if it may not be, it may just be me that you and I will see each other or know each other and say, look, I'm facing this situation. Can you help me? Maybe at the time I don't know you yet, but because you and I maybe will get a chance to meet in the campaign trail, you say to me, or I say to you, hey, Mr. Baum, I have this immigration issue. Do you know anybody that you can connect me to or connect me with? Because of that connection, because of that involvement, before you know it, you slowly finding a solution to your problem because you're participating. All we have to do, like, again, this is Angela's website, angelaAlsobrooks.com. Go there. You can register to do what we call phone bank and make calls. You can register to go out on the street and knock on doors. You can register to stand on the street and wave signs and all of that. So yes, this is how we get involved. This is how we can get our problem solved without even realizing it.
You're forgetting the most important. You can also donate.
You can absolutely also donate. Exactly. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Because it's not just, yes, all of the things that we talked about is important, but remember, a campaign needs money. Whether it be $5, $10, $20, you go on a website, you will see right on there, I did my little fair share, my little token that I could do. I did it. And to me, you can't run an organization without money. So it's huge. You got to do it.
Right, so it's important, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if you go onto AngelaAlsobrooks.com, you'll be able to find out. But I think that I want to say descending order, it is very important, if you buy Angela's idea, to be able to go out and support her. If you cannot vote, first of all, donate.
Yes.
I just read David Trone has spent $53 million of his personal money in this campaign. 53. These are just primaries. Primaries means they are looking for the candidate that's going to represent the Democratic ticket, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Before they get to the elections in November, where
right.
you have the Democratic candidate, the Republican candidate, the Independent. This is just for the primaries, and he has spent $53 million.
Yeah,
that's quite a huge sum.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a steep climb. I have also seen she has been endorsed by the governor of Maryland, Westmore. She has been endorsed by Congressman Raskins. She has been endorsed by a whole lot. And recently, Washington Post just endorsed her.
Yes.
So and just lots of those endorsements. So you may not have the name to endorse, but also put your endorsement. There are signs, yard signs. Okay. You can also put on your car. Very many things to do. It's important for us because one of the things I've realized with us in Maryland is Imagine that we have this number of African immigrants, but the only council that takes care of African immigrants in the entire state of Maryland, okay, it's a body that's appointed by the governor. It has no statutory budget. It has
Yeah,
nothing that is shameful. But that is because we are not advocating for ourselves. And we
absolutely.
need to change that. We need to
Absolutely.
have an African Affairs Department at the governor's office, fully funded office,
There
not
you
some
go.
token thing that is given. And we can do that by just doing these little things. And I'm glad that people like you, Mr. James, you are able to spend your time, spend your money, make sure that you galvanize the community. And there's a lot. This community is so rich, that if we just put our little things together, you'll be surprised at what we can do. And I'm saying,
Absolutely.
we African immigrants in PG County, Montgomery County, throughout Maryland should come out. Okay, this is supporting Angela Alsobrooks. Let's go, put in and see what happens in the end. So let's get out the word.
And get
And
out the vote.
it'll be bad for us to talk on this forum about Angela Alsobrooks and not talk about one of us who is also running for Congress,
I'm glad
Gabriel
you mentioned
Jinibot.
that.
And
Yes.
I've seen a lot of momentum. Unlike before, you see people drag their feet left, right, and center. Now we have a Cameroonian American who is running to be a congressman. What is your take?
I'm so absolutely happy that you just mentioned Mr. Gabriel Njinaba. I'm absolutely so thrilled, very, very thrilled. And also about the thing about Mr. Trone spending $53 million and all of that. I want all of us to put this in perspective before we get to Mr. Gabriel Njinaba. The three people running now for Senate, obviously Angela, Mr. Trone, and former Governor Hogan. And the whole thing there is, Hogan is going to beat everyone else and all of that. If this person wins this person wins that. By the way, between Angela and Mr. Trump, the error of margin is 3%. Mr. Trump is up by 3%. Okay. So having spent all of that money to tell you the full force that is behind Angela, if Angela was not a threat, Mr. Trump would not have spent that kind of money. We don't have anything against Mr. Trump, but I will say this again to all of us listening, to every African American, to every American in Maryland, and every African, please send Angela to Senate for us to be at the table. Talking about the table, one of ours is running to go to Congress, Gabriel Njinaba. If some of you know, maybe some of you might have gone to parties at his a party place in Jessup and all of that. And again, talking about representation, you just mentioned the governor's office has something, but until we actually have something that is funded, we can cry to kingdom come, nothing will change. But if we're able to get one of our own into Congress, Mr. Gabriel Njinaba, now we have a seat at the table. If we're able to get Angela Alsobrooks to the Senate, we have a seat at the table. So I say to my brothers and sisters, Mr. Njinaba is running for 4th Congressional District. And what I would like for each and every one of us listening here to first go and do a search, what cities are composed of the 4th Congressional District. So it allows you to know exactly where to go vote. But like you also said, more importantly, donate a little bit of something, whatever, $5, $10, whatever it is. So the 4th Congressional District, as I know, part of it is College Park, part of it is Laurel, and part of it is, again, I would like for you to, at least since we're all trying to get involved, learn and understand what it is. So that way, you know that if Mr. Njinaba is that 4th Congressional District where you live covers where that district that he's running for, make sure you go and vote. Make sure you participate. Make sure you go out there and put flyers out. Make sure you do phone banking. That's how we call it in political thing. Phone banking, literally making phone calls. And when you call people, people may disagree with you, but don't get mad with them. That's just the political process. So, my fellow brothers and sisters, please do everything we can. Let's do everything we can for the 4th Congressional District. Send Gabriel Njinaba to Congress. Let's do everything we can to send Angela Alsobrooks to Senate to represent us, because when she goes to Congress, to the Senate, as part of the Congress, she's representing the entire state of Maryland. Now I have a formula on how we can send both of these people to Congress. I have a formula. And I would like, I don't want to share it here, but what I would like to say is that if people want to reach out to you at your show or reach out to me, let us now tell them the formula, so that way we can use that formula and win by the primary election and November election.
So do you want, how did they get to you? How should they get to you?
We can put my cell phone number on here. I'm more than willing to take calls.
Okay, so let me put it. Can you give it on the air yourself?
Sure. 240-398-6382.
240-398-6382. So again, there's a challenge here. Mr. James is saying he has the formula. You can call him 240-398-6382.
Yes.
240-398-6382. So we have been talking.
And I'll preface that by saying that, please, I know this is politics. Be sincere to yourself. Don't call us or call you just because you want to get our formula and then go use it on your candidate. I get it. But please, we don't want that. We know some people are, who cares? Let me just call and get it so I can implement it in my own process and all of that. Please, if you're one of those, please don't call us. We want somebody that wants to buy into that idea, is together with us sending Angela to Senate, sending Gabriel Jinabot to Congress. So I have that formula, and Mr. Mbam, I'll share that formula with you, not on the air, but when we finish, so that way they can call so that we can make this thing happen for both of these candidates.
So thank you very much. And again, we have been talking about Angela Alsobrooks. Mr. James, you know, people are wondering, they are scratching their heads. They are torn between the billionaire and an African-American woman. And like, if I'm in that position where I'm really like, I really want to vote for Angela, but also David has been, you know, pulling me, has employed some of my people in Total Wines, has done some good. What is it I should think about to really get me over the line to Angela?
At this point, both of them have very good things that they're running on. Both of them. You start looking at what they're running on and all of that. Everybody has a different approach and all of that. But at the end of the day, they're trying to bring solutions home. To me right now, I want to be able to see that list, that image, and see somebody that represents me. I'm not saying anything new. I'm not saying anything strange. I'm not coming out of the air with this. Look at that same picture. The 100 senators, though maybe speaking it and saying it out loud, but that is sort of way of saying, well, these are the people that we want in Congress. We're speaking the truth and nothing but the truth. I want representation. All of those, both candidates have good ideas, they have wonderful things, but I want to see Angela so that when I reach out and said, or see that picture, I know somebody is sitting at the table thinking about things that I'm thinking about. Somebody sitting at the table saying, I know with her going there, I know my daughter, your daughter can have a chance to also go there. That is what I want, to be able to let our African Americans and our African immigrants to understand that. And by the way, I don't know how it all came that we relegate women to the back. These are people that bring us into the world, but yet somehow we'll find a way to relegate them to the back. One thing that Trone said that really, again, I like both candidates. One thing that Trone said that really made me a little shocker was, oh, well, we have already two women that are running for Congress that we already have two women that are in Congress, blah, 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 something like that. I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. Is that your reason? You have the power to be able to limit how many women can come and be in Congress, whether it be Senate or all of that. That little statement alone, like, see, it goes back again to this same mentality that, oh, no, we can actually define how many people this group be here with us. We can actually say, no, you can only have 2 spots here. The rest will be us. Let's not be fooled. The truth is the truth. We must be represented. And that representation, if you get nothing from this little talk here with you and I, have somebody at the table representing you. And on that, we must send Angela and Mr. Angela Alsobrooks, or Mr. Angela Alsobrooks and Mr. Gabriel Njinabot to Congress. Angela for Senate, Mr. Njinabot for Congress.
No, thank you very much. And I just wanted, I thought you were going to indicate that. I just read again. There's an ad that was put out by David Trone's campaign, and they have had to edit it out this morning, that said the Senate is not a place for training wheels. And that is something, it speaks to something about women, and so he had a pushback from about 650 African American women, say, oh, so this place is a boys club, isn't it? An elitist boys club.
There you go, right there.
So it feels good, but I really think, I mean, if you are close to Angela's campaign, I know these are the last days, because when is election again?
Election is early election is today. It started yesterday. Early started yesterday. Okay. Yesterday, May 2nd to May 9th. And obviously our November election coming up. Our push now is to make sure that Angela wins this primary. When Angela wins this primary, Angela will win the election in November. And here's why. Right now, the three candidates are divided, and they say, former Hogan is leading the race and all of that. But here's what I do know. When it boils down to the two candidates, between Angela and Hogan, the people in Trone's camp will come to Angela. So now if 33, it means Angela and Trone has 66%, while Hogan has 33 right now, or maybe having 35, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, when now comes down to two candidates between Angela and Hogan, Trone people will come to Angela's side and will win. Our biggest challenge right now, which to me is not even a big challenge, our great opportunity right now is to put Angela, to make sure that Angela wins the primary. And talking about that, you see, about the issue that you just said about 600 African American women went against what Trump just said. That is the mentality. We may be talking about it, but people do things in a subtle way. Okay? People do things in a subtle way. It's no different. Okay? Again, you and I are not against, I want to become a millionaire. You should aspire to become a millionaire. All of us should aspire to become millionaires. And yes, when somebody has their money and that's what they want to put their soul and heart into, to run and make changes for in people's lives, it's wonderful. But in that process, though, don't take it for granted that as you've worked hard and gotten billions and become a millionaire, don't say, oh, no, we only have this path for you, as if that whole congressional process is all reserved for a specific number of people. And that, to me, is a clear indication that, no, we have to be at the table. Like I would say this so that people understand. They say, you know what I'm going to talk about. They say, if you're not in Ngumba house, you cannot talk about Ngumba matters. So Congress is in Ngumba house. If for some of us Cameroonians that understand what Ngumba means, simply means a club, like you just said. If you're not in the club, you cannot talk about club matters. So we have to send Mrs. Angela Alsobrooks to be part of that club. We have to send Mr. Gabriel Njinabot to be part of that club. So then they can talk about those club matters. Then we can also understand them.
Thank you. And I just wanted to indicate that you have 11 days to go. Primaries are between today, well, they started yesterday to the 9th. Mm-hmm. Tuesday the 14th, that's when elections actually take place. So 11 days to do the last push. Please, if you're an African, you're an immigrant, you live in Maryland, please. These elections are very, very important. And I wanted to indicate that the congressional seats, the seat in Maryland that was always taken for granted can no longer be taken for granted. Mm-hmm. If you want the Democrats to continue and being in charge of the Senate, you need to get involved in these elections. Absolutely. And involvement, like we have said, does not mean just voting. If you can vote, please do. Please do. But if you cannot vote, look for your neighbors. Ask them if they can vote. Talk about Angela. Support. Look for money support her campaign, get a sign, do anything within this next 11 days. And I also throw the challenge to Angela Alsobrooks, who is running. Please reach out to African immigrants. Reach out to African immigrants within this short time that you have, even 1 hour, 10, 30 minutes, whatever time you have, dedicate to bringing out, because this time the votes are going to be very important.
Absolutely.
And let's all come out. And as Mr. James Afueh just said, we need to be around the table. We need to be on the table. And we have two people, Mr. Gabriel Jenibot and Angela Alsobrooks. Any last word, Mr. James, before?
No, I want to take this opportunity. Thank you so much for, these are the kind of things that allow us to start really getting a chance to participate, and really appreciate you to give me the opportunity to come so that we can have this chat and be able to let our people know that we have to be part of the political process. I'm hoping that they're going to see this discourse that we just had, and it will help them to actually put Angela to the top and put Gabriel Jenibot to the top. And I think bottom line, let's go and do it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make it happen. Let's send these two people to Congress. Let's have Angela as a senator. Let's have Mr. Gabriel Jenibot as a congressman. Let them be there at the table discussing issues that matters to us. Thank you.
And I thank you for your time. Short notice, you were able to squeeze it, and let's continue having this conversation. Again, Angela Alsobrooks for Senate. Where are the African immigrants? Let's make our voices heard. Let's push our candidates so that they can get through and do things for us. Thank you. It's been a good morning. Now it's afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your day and see you next time.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a great day.
Thank you.